Welcome to the Monday Money Tip podcast. So glad that you are joining us for this episode. It is episode number
336. I got to say it.
All right, and my name is Megan Hibbard, and I am joined by Joe Stengel. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be on the podcast as a guest today. Thank you.
You know, it's hard to nut on your schedule, but I'm glad you can make it. All right, so today we are talking about essential steps to take before buying a home.
Now, listen, with this podcast, we do encourage you to have a notebook, pencil, pen, there, be able to take notes because we aim to teach and equip so that you can live a fully funded life. And, you know, we're talking about something that's really important. It's a very huge key to building wealth. And yet a lot of people, they feel like this dream has gotten farther away, not closer.
Yeah, it's wild to me, the amount of people that think, oh, I could never own a home, or I could never. And I think when COVID happened and the economy got so crazy, it was so hard for new, first-time home buyers to even get in the market and even have an opportunity. But we have a bunch of steps for you here that could help you if that's what you want to do.
So let's give you some things to help you with that. And the first thing is you need to build an excellent credit score. And how do you do that? Well, the first thing is what?
Yeah, so you need to address negative items. I think sometimes with these, it might not even be your fault. Like a mistake might have happened that's on your credit score, and it could prevent you from making this financial step like buying a house. So knowing what your credit score is, knowing what's on it, is there something? So we had a situation where there was a doctor bill that got put on there. We had paid it. We knew it was taken care of, but one credit score didn't get taken off, like it was put on there even though it should have been, and the other one it wasn't. So you're like, clearly it's a clerical error. You could go back and you could see where the bill was paid, all these things. But it was simple as us calling the hospital and getting it taken care of. Well, I wouldn't say simple as, but
annoying.
It was annoying. But it got corrected. But if we hadn't been checking, we would never have seen that.
I know a lot of people who actually make good income, but because they do not have good organization in their life, they pay bills late all the time. They have the money to pay it, they just pay them late. And the reason they're paying them late is they spend all their money. They don't have an emergency fund, so they're panicked about having things be automated because things might overdraft their account, and you will not be able to buy a house. And they get all upset. I've got enough money, I'm able to pay my rent, I should be able to get a house, my credit's bad though. And they don't always talk like that. That's probably wrong that I said it that way. But sometimes they sound that way, where they're like, they sound like they're entitled to be able to get a loan for a house, but their credit is bad. Yeah. And listen, you need to know what your credit is, and you need to make sure it's good credit, and that you can make good decisions with your money. And if you do not use all of your available credit limit on credit cards and you pay them off every month and you pay on time, you're going to have an excellent credit score. And of course, you've got to be prepared because I don't know if you know this, Megan, they require money to buy a house. Did you know that?
It's wild. I mean, I feel like the next thing is you have to save money. So
after you have good credit, part of having that good credit is to save money.
So there's down payments, there's closing costs, there's you also need an emergency fund because there's an increased responsibility when you own a house. Not sure if you know that.
I mean, I was looking at a house with my daughter yesterday. She's pondering buying it. And I looked at the heat pump, and I remember I had that same heat pump on the first house I bought in the year 1998.
Oh, no.
And I think they took the heat pump from that house and carried it over to this house. And I looked at that and I said, I think you need to automatically say, I'm going to have to replace that day one. Like, don't do it, but have the money ready.
Right.
Like, when you own a home, it increases those financial responsibilities. So a lot of people are working so hard to just have the down payment. But it's so much more than the down payment. Like, in a lot of circumstances, you can't get the seller to pay closing costs. You're going to have to pay those too. And the emergency fund, you're better crank that up because houses bring problems with 3 zeros behind them, sometimes 4 zeros.
Yeah. I think we just closed on our new house, a few weeks ago.
Yeah, you did.
And I think it's crazy when you sit down at the attorney's office and they, you have the closing documents and they show you everything and you're like, why am I paying for this? Like, there's so many things in there. It's ridiculous.
Ask me my favorite fees at an attorney's office: the document preparation fee and the wire fee, and all. It's like they're just gigging you for a 20 here and a 50 here and a $100 bill here, and it's unbelievable. But listen, you've got to save money if you want to be positioned to buy a house. Get that credit in order. Save money. And then, of course, the third thing is understand what you can actually afford. And when you look at this data, you need to make sure that you do a known number of what are the property taxes. Usually you can go to your county's website and get your taxes. You can get a home insurance quote. Usually home insurance is 1% of the purchase price. That used to be a good assessment, unless you're in a hurricane zone or whatever, who knows. And then PMI if you're not putting down 20%. But ideally, okay, banks will lend you more than this, but ideally the payment wouldn't exceed 25% of your take-home pay.
Yeah.
That's ideal.
I feel like it's so easy you go look at a house, you fall in love with it, and then you're trying to figure out, how can I make it work?
Yeah.
Before you even start figuring out what you can afford, monthly payment needs to be, and then you don't get caught looking at houses that you can't afford.
Yeah.
You need to be informed first. So we built a new build house. We looked at a ton of pre-existing homes, and the new builds were the same price, and you get a brand new house. I was like, done.
But you had to wait.
We had to wait.
A lot of people don't want to wait.
Which is true. But they also have new build houses that are for sale that you can just move into. Anyways, but we went to a design center, and you can go and you can pick out all of these things.
So you got to pick out your colors.
Yeah, they
fixtures.
Had packages and all that kind of stuff. And so they're like, okay, here's the things I need you to pick out. And then she's like, and then here are all the upgrades you can do. And let's walk around this beautiful design center so you can look at all of the things. And Jordan and I mean, thankfully, we had gone into this appointment and we were like, this is our number. We cannot spend more than this. This is what we are spending. This is what we are spending. Even Jordan,
the spender, the big spender?
I mean, luckily we
stayed?
Oh, yeah. We were both on the same page.
So what are you saying? Should we add an extra tip here that says bring blinders? And have them, and don't look to the left or the right.
I mean, what we did is we went through and we wrote down all the things like, this would be nice. And then we had the price beside it. And then we added it all up and we said, all right, this is more than we wanted to spend. What are we cutting? What can we do later? Okay, yeah, I want this in my house, but what can I add? I can buy that later and it's cheaper and I'm not paying builder prices for it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you guys are pretty handy, so you can do some of this stuff.
We are very handy, which comes in hand.
Yeah, it comes in handy. And the last thing is get pre-approved. So when you get pre-approved, it'll make your offer more attractive. It helps them have confidence that you can actually purchase a home if they accept your offer. And so that pre-approval process is super important. Call a local bank. I love going to a local community bank. But big banks can work. A mortgage broker can help you. But getting pre-approved is huge. And it helps you sometimes get a deal over somebody else who made the same offer or maybe even a little more offer, but they didn't submit it with a pre-approval letter.
Right.
So they literally will give you a pre-approval letter saying you're in position to be able to purchase this home. And then I'm just going to say this. A lot of people did not do this when the pandemonium hit with COVID, but inspect the home. It is insane to purchase a home without completing a home inspection.
Right.
It's just insane.
Yeah.
So my daughter, you may have heard my Apple Watch ring here because I've got my phone on Do Not Disturb, but she's one of my favorites, and so it rang. She's trying to buy a house. I'm pretty sure she's calling to say, hey, there's an offer thing. Can you look at it? But here's the deal. I went and looked at the house with her last night, and I said, who's the home inspector? And you're paying for the home inspection, not someone else. Why? Because it's a used home. It's an older home. It's going to have older home issues, and that's known, normal wear and tear. But you need to know, and you need to know from a professional.
Yeah.
And so it costs $300, $500, $600 for an inspection. It's different. That's in this area in South Carolina. I don't know what it is in other areas. But if they're trying to get you to buy a house with no inspection, just walk away.
Yeah.
Just do it.
It's probably something they might be trying to hide.
So listen, these are some steps to help you move into that dream of home ownership. We have another team member who's on the floor below the studio here, and he just got a signed deal last night. He is fired up, and so they're doing something right now, and it's what we're asking you to do. If you're preparing to buy a house, you should use our mortgage payment calculator. It's free. We'll have a link provided to you. You can go to fullyfunded.life and actually get some additional stuff related to that tool. But the mortgage payment calculator tool is really helpful. You can just type in the current interest rates, the term of the loan, and what you're trying to borrow, and it will tell you what the principal and interest payment is, like that. And then see if it's 25% or less of your take-home pay. Okay. Can it be a little more? Yes, but the more it increases, the more you're going to eat, sleep, breathe the house. Of course, if you have no other debt, like your vehicles are paid for and everything, you may be able to accommodate a little more and be able to prosper. But here's what we want you to be able to do. We do want you to be able to own a home. Yeah. We do want you to be able to build wealth through real estate. And taking, the hardest house you'll ever buy. Do you know the hardest house you ever buy? Your first one. Yeah. You've 3 houses now, you and Jordan. The third house was easier. It just was. You know the process. And so we want you to be able to do this the first time. It's the hardest one. After that, you'll never wonder again. Then you can help others learn the process. Maybe, just maybe, you'll point them to this episode of the podcast. So, hey, we do encourage you to check out Fully Funded Life. You can do that at fullyfunded.life. Become a member of our community today. We would love to be able to see you there. If not, hey, look, we'll see you next Monday either way and be able to give you some more helpful tips for free. Get fired up and we'll see you. Have a great Monday. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you've gotten value from this, and I believe you have, click that subscribe button, click that thumbs up, leave a comment, share it with somebody. We want to make sure that this community grows so that we can all together live fully funded lives. Thanks for being a part of our family.